What is up, everybody? David DeBryan here, the host for this podcast, Midwest Dad Squad. Eric, holy crap, we have a special for you guys tonight.
Oh no! It's a double special. It's a
It's a double
freaking
special,
double
yes.
special.
Exactly, you're correct. I'm sorry, I am wrong, like usual. But
Oh,
we
absolutely.
we have mystery guests,
Is that
and
plural? Is
yeah,
that plural?
that's plural. Yes,
You
it
guys are
is.
in for a treat. We're in for a treat.
Absolutely. Alongside, I have my co-host, as always, from Kimball, South Dakota. Guys, give it up for Eric Gold.
Woo! What's up, everyone?
Oh, but one person watching.
Yeah, we should probably let our guests know that. Like, hey, we don't have anybody watching, but
Yeah. Here, let me message him quick. I'm just kidding.
is it is it John?
I wish I could see. Ever since we started going on YouTube, I can't see who it is now because
Interesting.
we get so many viewers on YouTube.
I gotcha. Well, yeah, I'll. I don't know. Maybe someday we will.
Yeah. Keep it
All
going.
right, let's talk about this guest. Like, I'm really excited. I know one of them very personal, and the other one I've only met a couple of times. It's really cool what they do on the side, and then what they do on the side of what they do on the side is pretty flippin' awesome.
I think it's pretty cool. So I don't really know a whole lot about them, Eric. I'm probably just gonna let you take the reins on this with
Yeah.
with how we introduce them and stuff, just because you know them a lot more than I do. So, but I think it's super cool what they do.
Well, then let's just get right into it because I'm really excited. Like, really
Absolutely.
excited. And I got to go to the gym after this.
Without further ado, if you want a drum roll.
Is that
All
good?
right.
All right, let's rock it. Do it. Invite them.
All right. Here we go.
Hey!
Whoa, let's go, guys.
Oh my goodness.
We changed locations.
How the hell did you guys do that?
Oh, we just go to the computer.
I mean, we have a
Oh.
shop. We have all kinds of tools and stuff like that too. You know.
They swap chairs.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I let him wear my mustache.
So we were
just
talking about how you guys didn't. You guys only had one follower watching right now.
We were just saying that we're like, yeah, we should probably let them know we only have
Better
2
let
followers right now.
Know about this? They'll just have to watch the
Yeah,
rerun.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's usually what happens is like they don't usually watch a whole lot on live, and I don't know if that's what you guys have too, but
Yeah, usually we would just make a video and throw it up after the fact so we can throw in some editing.
Heck yeah.
And then
So we-
Perkins the next morning.
You gotta have
we
like
don't ever
Days of Thunder soundtrack, and you
Yeah.
gotta add in Lethal Weapon soundtrack. Those are our two favorites.
Yeah, anything from late 80s, early 90s soundtracks.
Heck yeah. Well,
But hey, I'm Dan the Dragon Gagnon, and I have right here to my side.
Turner County Tornado, Aaron the Meat Man Murphy, number 53, Sturgis flat track champion.
woo, Aaron!
The world's okayest dad.
Yeah,
what,
same
what-
here. I also got trophy for World OKS Dad as well.
Can you see that, Aaron?
Yeah, he does spell it with an E.
Yeah, that's right.
There,
that's
that's a bit
crazy.
better. That's so
Yeah.
hard racing, guys. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out on YouTube. And are you guys on Facebook also?
Oh yeah.
Yep. Just check us out. Yeah, Dad's So Hard Racing on Facebook.
Awesome.
Dad's So Hard on Instagram,
Yep.
and then Dad's So Hard Garage on Instagram.
Heck yeah. Well, we're going to get right into it, boys and girls.
Cheers, everyone.
Heck yeah. So
Absolutely.
before we start, I was letting Murph know that I'm doing a 5-week gym challenge, so no alcohol. So that's why I got a bubbler tonight.
Don't those have like vodka in them?
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I hope
those are
not.
Oh, that's my wife
No.
puts hers.
Right.
No, not bubblers.
Love you, babe.
So what the hell do you guys do? Like, Dad's So Hard Racing, like, what is it? I don't even know what it is. People, the one follower that we have watching, David doesn't know. Like,
Sure.
what do you guys do?
I have 3 now.
Dan, do you wanna take it
Um,
first?
Well, it first started out becoming dads. So we both became dads in 2016. He had his little boy Harris in May, and I had my boy Arlo in June. And we both kind of started to joke about, like that 6-9 months in, it's like, all moms so hard. We all know women are awesome. They're
Yeah.
great, you know.
They always get their flowers. They got their flowers, like multiple days where we celebrate them. And at the end of the day, I don't know if you've ever seen that Macho Man Randy Savage meme where he's getting carried to the ring, like it was like SummerSlam 1989. But he's like he's like the king, he's
Oh yeah, brother.
I remember seeing a meme like right when I became a father, where he's getting carried in, and it said like when I load the dishwasher, and stuff like that. So it was like I like that. That's kind of how I am. Eric and I work pretty long hours, and so like anything that I can do, like for my wife, I kind of embellish it. I church it up a lot.
Honey,
like,
I cleaned the garage.
Exactly. Like anything that I can do that is like normal task for any human that happens to involve like my child, like, oh, I picked him up. Like we crushed it. I absolutely crushed picking him up the other day. And, that's kind of
like
like
put a seatbelt on.
Why do
There's
we
one in the car seat.
I remember driving in a little 88 Ford Escort wagon, and there were no seat belts.
But those cars were strong.
There were cigarettes and like rock and roll. And that's kind of the other thing is with being dads. Like I always look at like old photos of my stepdad, who I call dad, of him like in his old shitty sweatpants and like flip flops with like the high socks, what I mean? Like, and just obviously the mullet and like the transition lenses and just like that kind of style and that kind of approach to being a dad, like back in the 80s and early 90s. Our parents were growing up too, and I feel like we're kind of still doing the same thing, but dad's so hard. Like whatever we do, like our motto is, work hard, play harder, and dad the hardest. And it might not always mean that you're the best dad or that you aren't
we can always
yelling
be
at your kid or anything like that.
Yeah,
but
we can always be better.
Yeah, it's a constant thing where we have a bunch of friends that are all dads. Our kids are all kind of pretty close to the same age, and we just kind of get it done. Whatever means possible.
Yeah, it was kind of like that early stages of dadhood that we started just joking, like, "Oh yeah, dad's so hard, cool." Well, then he made a shirt. Probably a year in.
I wish
that kind of got us some buzz.
I wish I would have had that. There's a bunch of them floating around. I actually
did see them on YouTube. I saw or on your Facebook. I did a little bit of creeping. They had them all across you had a white T-shirt.
Yep. Yeah, we've done a couple different ones. We've made a couple of our own too.
We did. Yeah, we've done like some tank tops and stuff like for Sturgis. And then
help pay for racing.
Just a few things here and there. We kind of have like the world's most old school setup for screen printing. So
one at a time kind of a style.
We kind of put a hold on that because as you can tell, we have a shitstorm of things to finish.
Just moving and going and bikes to work on and pipes to build
and kids to rear. We got to rear them children's.
But yeah, we're always the backdoor racers.
Yep.
It's like we started bringing our kids to more races.
Yeah, like just because we're not the type of guys that want to go to the Washington Pavilion. You can't here at the Washington Pavilion.
Yeah, it's like, let's go to the zoo.
Or bring a lawn chair. You can't have a lawn chair at the Washington Pavilion. So we started bringing our kids to the races. And
then we were like, well, crap. Maybe we should just get on bikes and start riding ourselves. So that started and it just snowballed into us having, we're just going to call ourselves Dad's So Hard Race Team.
Yep.
Like, why can't we just be called that?
Right.
So then we did that, and then that turned into us just racing more, and we both won Sturgis in 2022.
2022 took home AHRMA.
2021.
2021, yeah. Took home AHRMA championships. What started to be supposed to be like a 3-day weekend turned into like 7 days, and
it was like Vegas and Sturgis.
Yeah, Vegas and Sturgis.
It was like 3 bachelor parties rolled together in like an 8-day.
And I will say that I had to fight for those extra days. I had my general manager Harley. giving me the guilt trip of all guilt trips. And I'm like, look, dude, like we weren't even expecting to be doing well out here because we race some of these classes on like the smallest engine size bikes, like, so our bikes aren't as big as some of these other guys.
They were
but
double our size.
We also don't have to spend as much money. And if you do it right, you're always going to be up front, you know?
We had a fun time.
Good time. And yeah, so I had to fight for that. We had a bunch of arguments.
That was his longest vacation ever from Billions to this date.
Oh, 100%.
We love Billions, though. Thank you guys for employing some of our friends.
Do you guys ever race tandem, like where you guys sit on the same motorcycle?
Oh, gosh. We had been on the same bike together. Yes. It was only to get to the food, the beer, or the porter body quicker.
Yeah. And there's always like the tradition of like having somebody, like your pit guy or your crew chief, like ride on the back of your bike once you take the checkered. But
we've only gotten a couple checkers.
Only a couple checkers. We race with some pretty good guys up in Minnesota.
There's a lot of local talent around here that people that have been riding bikes for years.
Right. And it's just like the classes that we're into, they're like very competitive with guys our age, like the vintage class.
You would think 30 plus is your washed up class, and it's probably one of the stacked classes out at Sioux Valley Cycle Club.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of awesome riders that have gray hair. It can still.
Have you never met Ryan Dungey?
Never met any of those guys.
Tony Roxon, like, come on.
So in our world, we actually with our pipe building business, our exhaust business, which we talk about later, called Bill Built. We've been in contact with a lot of professionals, buying gear and stuff from guys that are like representatives for these companies to get, like a little bit better of a deal, to be able to have them, potentially like use our product and put it out there on social media and stuff like that.
And keep the chains rolling.
Not like AFT or American Flat Track isn't nearly as big as like the
truck
Monster
series.
Supercross or NASCAR, but it's definitely getting there.
Even like you think of Monster Jam,
right?
Like even like to keep
they have these programs, like for American Flat Track, it's called Build, Train, Race, which Billion Nissan sponsored a gal that was going out there, mother of four, I believe. A mother of three that flew out there and tried out, and I think it came out that she had too much experience, maybe. So like they have a program where it's all women that build their bikes, and they kind of video them throughout the process. But yeah, like it's getting to that point because it's cheaper to get into, than like Supercross or motocross. Like if you've ever been around a racetrack during those weekends, it's one of the most hyper competitive disciplines in our sport of riding motorcycles. But like the AFT circuit just doesn't quite have, the big names, but eventually they're gonna get there because there's less wear and tear on bodies. You can go and race up to like a later age, like in comparison to like Supercross, where you got to get in when you're very young.
Yep.
And
you can't be doing moto
have
when
a
you're
certain
55,
window.
60,
Yeah, like when you're
competitively.
Our age, like 37, 38, like it's like almost impossible to be on the level of those kids.
Monday morning.
So yeah, like
all those whips.
Yeah. Motocross is tough.
Like all of those disciplines all come down to just, knowing your machine and becoming a better rider. And it all kind of circles back to teaching that to your kids and, like the maintenance of a bike and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be a really big deal, moving forward with American Flat Track and just like the local races. There's, especially during COVID in the areas that were kind of more accepting than others as far as putting races on and having people all get together. We were lucky enough, to kind of keep going and not really have to give up because of like the social distancing and all the restrictions in some of these areas. So we've been going pretty hard for last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, at least 5.
Heck yeah.
The boys are almost 8 and they got on bikes when they were 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
so that's some of the questions. It's like a lot of
Yeah,
people
you guys
ask.
you guys are getting ahead of us. We're trying to ask those questions.
Yeah, like sorry,
we just
we've
No,
done a lot of
it's-
videos too, like rambling on and all
yeah,
that
it's
stuff.
like
so,
a 10-minute video turns into 35 minutes of us
drinking beer.
baseballing out, you know.
Hey, I got something cool for you guys. So our buddy John Rolthershaw said that he met the tornado about a month ago.
Oh, crazy
no-
for
no-
the
It was the
Yes!
diaper keg.
yes,
Yeah.
sure. Hey,
Yeah,
Right
John's a good
on.
friend of mine.
sure he walked out of there thinking like, who was that guy? Like
He
ultra,
said it-
ultra
Awesome.
confident. Like it's like like the longer this gets in the back, the more confidence I get.
Yeah, I
Like,
feel like he's like a mix between Mel Gibson's brother and Emilio Estevez.
yeah. I don't quite have like the like the
Riggs!
like what would you want to say, like the starring role. I don't have that kind of height,
No. Yeah.
but what I lack
Tom
in
Cruise wears high
height,
heels.
I make up for in just style and personality, really.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, they just put the camera angle.
Yeah, I just
Yeah. He just jumps onto another helicopter. They're like, oh, look, I'm in the air. You have nothing to judge how short I am.
right.
Yeah, John said, I always love meeting Nolan's buddies, man. They're always a trip.
Yeah, yeah, so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, because they're probably like, oh, who the hell are these people in
This
here?
dude still lives in the 80s.
Yeah, and it's tough, man.
Yeah, pulled up, listen to Van Halen, and
Good luck getting me out,
yeah.
because that's just a better time for America.
Yeah, once I started having, going to the whole dad thing. Once I
Yeah.
started having kids, my music that I play in the car changed. I started listening to some country.
Oh, sure.
And Luke Combs does say, "Honey,
Oh,
I
hell
can't
yeah.
turn it off once I turned it on."
Yeah,
Like
Love
once
Luke
it's on, I'm going.
right.
And until it shuts off, I can't turn it off. Like this is who it is.
Yeah.
Once
Yeah,
I turn
that's
it off, I can't turn it
That's
on.
exactly
Yeah, once I turn it
Murph. Like once Murph turns it on, there's no light switch. It's balls to the wall, 24/7.
These guys will tell you, man.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
excited.
a
I'm
little, I
excited.
would say too, though, like I'm a little more reserved when we go out to the racetrack and stuff like that, because anything else that I've ever done, when you just like get into it, there's always kind of that kind of break-in process.
You're
where
intimidated by
Yeah,
everybody.
you're intimidated, especially.
like, oh my god, look at all these people. They're so good. I suck.
Yeah.
You don't have confidence.
So like you're always second guessing everything, or like, oh, like do I look like I just went out and bought all the best stuff and show up
Yeah.
and you're wearing like all, it's like that Dumb and Dumber where they walk out of the ski shop wearing all the
Yeah.
gear.
yeah.
Like that, you know?
That's how you feel.
But like I would say too, like with racing, and not a lot of people probably see that side that we get to see, like in the pits and all that. But racing is by far, and I've done a lot of sports and a lot of stuff like that where, like there's a lot of politics and kids sports and like
Yeah. Even
all
if
the
you know-
BS that you kind of run into with getting your kid into stuff. But racing families are by far the best people to share your time with, because they're doing the same thing on a shoestring budget.
This is our church.
And I don't know how many hundreds of dollars that we've spent on like making sure that we, had enough meals for our kids,
Yeah.
which is the most important.
And
but
extra underwear. for
Underwear,
accidents.
like remembering all that stuff. But
Racing.
anytime we go to the racetrack, there's always a mom that has literally the whole spreader. It's usually like a group of moms that are like, you are not
Yeah.
leaving my area until you get fed and those
Yep.
boys are eating.
Yep.
And it's like, all right,
Yeah,
you kind of feel
Yeah.
bad, but
You wake up hungover like the night before,
You're like,
and they're
"Oh."
like, "Egg sandwich."
yeah,
Your
they
kid
just,
over there eating a popsicle. He
Yeah.
had one already.
Or
It's
they're-
like, okay.
our kids always tend to find like the largest RV or like the most decked out equipment to like go in, because they already know, all right, if these guys have a sweet ass RV, piles of treats
and snacks,
DVDs, or like Scooby Doo and all the
one
shit.
time we couldn't find our kids, and they were sitting in an air-conditioned RV on a full leather pull-out couch watching Scooby Doo, eating ice cream sandwiches.
Never met the parents in our lives.
It's just like they're like, oh yes, that's the Mean Man the Dragons kids.
Yeah, they're on like their 7th Freezy Pop, They're like, all right, sorry, like, can I give you money? No.
Yeah, so it's like that's what's cool about when we got into racing was like we're talking about how you feel intimidated by everybody. I like to walk into places and like kick all that anxiety off and just start talking.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make an ass out of myself 100 times out of 10, but at least I'm pushing the anxiety away. I'm like, I don't know anybody here. Hey, I'm the Dragon. I'm fucking slowest one today, but and you start to meet more people, and then it turns into like, wow, God, I don't just race now because I want to. I want to hang out with all my race friends.
It's like you get to, and like some of the people that I've met and we've met, we've become like really close friends.
Yeah. We really love our Minnesota racers. Shout out to D23 up north.
District 23 flat track. What is it? ARMCA.
Yeah.
Something like
that. We do a lot of racing up in Minnesota, like New Ulm. Cedar Lake.
Like we have a pretty
Mississippi Thunder over in the other side.
Pretty sweet setup. Like we kind of came in and just, I don't know, blew everyone's doors off. Like
we like to have fun when we still go to the track. That's all.
Yeah.
We're not like we race to be competitive because it's like you get to be older and have like that competitive feeling again. Like, I wasn't really in sports. I was always kind of working at a young age doing like harder labor. So like I never was in like basketball or football or stuff like that. So it's like to have like that,
that drive.
That drive or that nut you want to get in some way or another, competitive against, all men like to be competitive.
Yep.
We race girls and kids too.
Yeah.
And women, but
I don't know how many times I've had my ass kicked by a little kid, boy, girl, doesn't matter, on like a smaller bike, but they can just ring it out and they're less weight and they just it just kills all of your desire and confidence. And you're just like, what the
Especially
hell?
when you're already going fast.
Like, you feel like you're going fast, and then there's some little kid with a ponytail sticking out, and they're like, meh.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
You're doing 55, 60, you get passed by somebody that
I got to change classes.
has bubblegum hairspray.
Right. I feel like there's some questions that need to be asked. You guys wanted to ask some questions, and we're just sitting here spitballing.
No, it's funny. Like it's very entertaining. But yes, we do need to get some because you're kind of asking a lot of my questions. I'm like, damn it, stop.
I know. Like I'm not gonna lie. If you look us up on like on Google.
Yeah, we pop up.
Our Sturgis interview on Kelloland is one for the ages. Yeah. I think they did a really good spread on us.
Shout out to Kevin Kiergaard.
Yeah, Kevin Kiergaard. He's the guy that does the CBS Sunday Morning, like the still shots and the action shots of like
sit still for 2 minutes every Sunday morning. That is
like that guy is outrageous.
He does a lot of the dirt vision stuff for Houston's too.
Yeah,
But our Kelloland interview for Sturgis when we won that championship that year, that was good.
That was epic, but.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, I was just gonna say how we're gonna break it down is David's gonna ask you some questions about Dad So Hard Racing that you guys that you guys haven't already answered. Then I'm gonna kick it back with little dad questions about your guys' family, what you guys kind of answered.
Dude.
Yeah, so you guys each have one kid, right?
I do have two now.
Yeah, he's a two-time.
Yeah,
two-time
so I have he just turned, my youngest is 1, Waylon.
Yeah.
Arlo is almost 8 and Waylon is 1.
Did you guys do the smash cake? Like when they turn 1, like it's a big deal.
Yeah, and that's just funny because Arlo, we tried to do that with Arlo and he would just barely touched it. My little boy Waylon, he's a tank.
Yeah.
He just wants to eat. He's just like, just eat everything. He just went right for it. It's go
crazy.
To town.
It's crazy how different, like our kids were born within a month of each other. So we kind of like went into the dad thing together.
Yep.
Like literally together.
Yeah. I'd bring them over like 9 months old. Yeah. They just like hang out by each other. We'd be like,
it's like, all right.
Like what are they doing? Mine burped a little,
and then you know, like when it was just the two of us and the two of our kids, like we would take them to like sports bar. Like that's another thing with Dad's So Hard. It's like, hey, like I'm not gonna like give up my football watching.
I'm gonna go sit down somewhere.
So we'd start taking them to the bars, you know, like the ones that you can get away with, like bringing a
2-3-year-old. Yeah,
like Dave and
But
Buster's.
people were like hell yeah, like, you know, like these guys are doing it, and their kids are there with them, and like I don't know, it seems like ultra dad.
Like,
Like,
be surprised how many restaurants don't have baby changing spots in them.
yes, that
I
is.
bet you guys
very
found that
true.
out.
You know, I've
crazy.
actually 2 times that a girl has been like, I'll check the girls area, and she's like, it's clear, you can go in there. I'm like, sweet. So like I went into the girls stall and changed.
I just saw an article too on Facebook about you know, like how I guess it depends on, you know, like the type of person. Like, let's be honest, it depends on what you look like and how you carry yourself if you're going into a restaurant or whatever. But like they say, like if a girl dad needed to take his girl, if she's 6, 7, 8, you know, like in that age where you take them to the correct area, and that, even that, you know, is crazy. But how if you announce yourself, you know, and even if a woman was in there and you're like, hey, I'm a girl dad, it's just me and my 7, you know, like whatever, you know, like that they would totally welcome that and be like, yeah, like you're doing the right things. And, you know, just because you're a guy doesn't mean that you can't like care for a girl, you know.
And we know a lot of great girl dads. Shout out to
my
some of our
God.
buddies that all have.
This guy right here.
Yeah, right.
It's
Like,
not easy. It's not easy being a mom or dad in this world. Anyways, the kids are way too smart for their ages.
kids are crazy.
like every parent says, you know.
But being, you know, like you always want, you know, like I wanted to have a boy because, you know, it just seems easier. I don't think it is. I think boys are way more fucking temperamental. Sorry for the F-bomb. We're far enough into the podcast where
Canceled.
but like, yeah, like being a girl dad, especially if you have multiples, like I know people with like 4 or 5 girls, and I mean, like, talk about just losing all hope and being outnumbered in any situation. Like, you don't ever get to pick the restaurant. You're never gonna be cool enough. I don't know.
Your shower drain is always gonna be full of hair.
Right.
Like,
You're forever going to be watching volleyball.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, like having a boy is so much different, and like you get to kind of like pass on the things that your dad did with you,
or things you want,
things that you didn't get to do. Like we didn't get to race motorcycles when we were kids. Like that was so far away from my reality as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, like I wouldn't say that we were like poor by any means. Like I grew up, I had a great childhood, but like that just wasn't in the cards. Like I remember, you know, like Derek and Nick Ladisaw, 2 like
Go Nick. What
super
up?
good racers
A great
from
local
around
motos,
here.
Yeah.
I know
Great dads too. But like in middle school, I remember following them out to SVCC out at Saddleback and watching them race moto, and coming home like just beaming with excitement, thinking like, oh fuck, like these guys have a motorcycle for sale. And I can, like we can buy it, and I can go racing too. And my parents just like kind of laughed at me. And at the time, you know, I'm sure they were like, they meant it. Oh, they meant it. But you know, like racing is so expensive. Like if you want to be competitive and all that, and also protect your kids or yourself, like you have to spend the money. It's just like anything
we
else.
probably have more money in safety gear on our boys than what it costs for their motorcycle.
What's the average cost to get started into racing starting with a bike and then all the safety gear?
It depends on age. It depends on age and what class they get into. But like if you're doing
let's say under 10, you can get into good boots, a good helmet. I mean, no one's gonna balk at spending $200 for a good helmet, $300 for a good.
Oh, there goes all my fucking questions.
It's kind of like it's kind of like hockey. It's kind of like hockey with like, you know, like you don't want to send your kid out on like old skates and shit. I would have gotten, you know, like if I would have played hockey, you know, like Mighty Ducks, like everybody grew up around then, and you're like, oh my God, like let's start a hockey team.
Come on, Charlie.
But again, my parents are like, Like, do you have any idea how much that gear is? Like, just to be a goalie, you're talking like $3,000 in pads, and
Yep.
it's on the low end. But like with racing, I'd say, you know, anywhere from like 1,500 to 2,500 for a good bike. But then you have like the parts and the maintenance, and if you break something,
you would add all that after the fact.
that'd be kind of after the fact. But like getting into it, like you can't just like, you can buy a setup to like race flat track or just motocross.
Yep.
So let's just call it 1,500 to 2,500 for the bike itself. And then, you know, I'd say $600 to $700 in gear.
Yeah, that's pretty fair average jump
Yep.
in.
But then like you have to pay to race every single time, or, you know, to get a membership, to have any
We
sort
have
of
memberships at Sioux
like,
Valley Cycle Club.
meaningful seat time to
Yeah.
where you get your kid acquainted with the machine. You know, you have a membership of $300 to $500 for that.
Yeah.
You know, plus some extra time depending on where you go. A lot of these tracks or facilities have like work days for their members where like it's required for you to go out there and help out with, you know, like the maintenance of the track, or, you know, setting up the lights or the PA system.
Because like a lot of this is volunteer.
It's all voluntary. Like there ain't a whole
lot of people that just come off the street and say, "You need help out there?"
Right.
You know,
It's like we always used to say in the car business, like, hey, we're working on Sunday, and it's mandatorily voluntary.
yeah.
Where like you are going to be working regardless.
Yep.
So
I volunteered you to work this mandatory Sunday.
Yeah. In the military,
Guys.
they call that voluntold.
Voluntold. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Same
Guys,
thing.
before we get off, before you guys take all of my questions, let's get through these questions. Because my first
David's gonna
one,
start to cry. He's gonna
We're
start to
kind
cry.
of like we're bad guests. We're bad guests to have.
I'm sorry.
like,
We're better like bar drinkers, like where we all just
It's
sit
like
and
Tom
talk.
Cruise. I stand in my chair and I yell at Oprah. You know, like,
Like, never go on the outside.
yeah,
turn, turn the ADHD off just a little bit.
yeah.
Oh man.
Sorry, I think the meds are wearing off.
Yeah.
So the number one I had one was, I see in your podcast you have kids in there. I'm assuming those are your kids. Well, obviously you've said that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what kind of racing do you do / like? You said motocross. Is there any other type of racing that you guys like?
So I would
Got
say
into
we
before?
we like motocross, and we put our kids into motocross, but you wouldn't catch my ass out on a motocross track or supercross track on a bike like that to save my life, because we love and we race and follow flat track, where you are literally just, it's like Bristol in NASCAR, where it's, you know, short track, longer track, all different lengths
It's a nice
of tracks.
oval. A nice oval.
But like you're just going left and just hanging just a gnarly drift all the way through the corner, and then just getting right back on the gas. And and you're racing, I mean, within inches of your buddy.
Yeah.
In fact, we were out at New Ulm,
Yeah, it was a New Ulm,
right,
Minnesota.
going, you know, 65, 70 miles an hour. And he reaches up, and this used to be a tactic to do back in the day, but he took his hand at 65, 70 miles an hour on a dirt track with old scatterbolt motorcycles that were put together
by
us.
learning how to build bikes.
Learning, you don't know if that thing got tightened on a Friday or a Monday,
Yeah.
but like he reaches up and taps me on the shoulder to let me know that he's coming right past me. And
As I passed him too, I flipped off him and my other buddy. I
Yeah.
passed two in the same
you know,
turn.
like, hey, you know, like
I
we're
was
out
like,
of here.
bam.
But
I didn't take off my throttle hand.
I was gonna say, how do you do that?
I put my clutch in my left hand.
like short track oval racing, I think, is the meat and potatoes of all racing. I love road courses, and I love
I love going left and right.
like what we call like a TT, which would be like a left and right turn with maybe a couple of jumps. In the flat track world would be like the absolute most that we would do.
Yeah.
Because I still got to work on Monday. He's got to work on Monday.
Yeah.
I've broken plenty of bones just in our short little careers.
We had a really rough start. Those first couple of years. A lot of ribs,
a lot
shoulders,
of injuries.
clavicle. Yeah.
a lot of extra time off that isn't always the most
appreciated.
Yeah, it's not like
bad
you're
timing.
Taking time off to go to a softball tournament. It's like you're trying to heal up,
Yeah.
I can't hold my arm up, or
I can't open my car doors.
Yeah, there's been some really
I've
bad
been undressed by a grown man after crashing. I couldn't get my clothes out.
That
So
grown man was murdered.
when you guys say flat track, are you talking about like hobby stock, like late models,
it would
like
be,
modified?
Those type of tracks.
So
Okay.
a left turn oval, everybody's turning left.
Yep.
We all got our blinkers on. But
So
like you come in, you haul ass, slide it in sideways.
little fun fact about me. I grew up around flat track dirt racing, going
Right on.
every single weekend. It was probably one of my favorite things before sports became my life. But I love going.
Which
I love
tracks did you go?
So I went to Park Jefferson, Sioux City.
Oh yeah.
That was like a quarter. Like that one's pretty big. Hartford.
Yeah,
I mean,
I want to say that one's almost a half mile out there.
Yeah,
It's
that
a
one
good
was
sign.
huge.
Yep.
Hartford was so much fun. I love late
Yep.
models. That's probably my
Yep.
favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the closest it looks like it was built in a barn, the better.
Yeah.
Like if there's pigeon shit on it and you didn't get it all wiped off before you get in a race, I'm fucking rooting for you.
Did you ever go out to Huset's
Yep.
and watch World of Outlaws and all that?
I never watched World of Outlaws. Where did I go? I went to I want to say Park Jefferson had like a pretty big race. I can't remember what the heck
Like
it was called.
305s or 360s.
Like a Midwest series or
Yep.
something.
See, I'm not really one for sprint cars. Nothing against sprint cars.
Yeah.
It's just they wipe out and then you're there forever
Oh my
because
God,
the
yeah.
caution flag every
Right.
2 seconds, and it's
See, like when you're
Damn.
growing up though as a kid, that can totally deflate your whole night because you're like, oh my God, like we gotta still sit here.
yeah.
As
Yeah.
dads,
Yeah.
I've honestly had my kid out to either Huset's or any of our racetracks because it's the same exact thing.
Yep.
Nothing's changed as far as like a good wreck is going to take some time, but that just gives you extra time. If you're not racing, to go get a couple more beers,
Right.
hit the stand, check out the gal serving the beers,
Yeah. No, I've
drop a little fresh air at the concession stand. You know what I'm saying?
I've been all over. I've been to Omaha to their track. That's a pretty sweet track.
Yep.
I've
You ever been out to Knoxville?
not Knoxville. I've never been out there.
Gone
No,
either, but I hear it is an amazing time, and eventually I will get out there. It's just Knoxville is always right around the same time of Sturgis,
oh,
Yeah,
or it's like
they're-
the week before or after.
week after. Yep.
And in my line of work, I only get one weekend off like a month, and it's got to be split up between 3 other guys. So
Yeah.
if I'm gonna go to Sturgis, which I
It's
feel
a
like for the
riot.
rest of my life, I will be there. That I would much rather go to Sturgis because we have a bunch of friends out there. But
Yeah.
it is like the mecca of
It's
everything.
probably the biggest party in
Yeah.
America every year.
yeah.
I
And-
feel that.
And
like,
the
South
racetrack
Dakota-
out there too is just like it is so good. I think
Yeah.
it's the weather. It's something to do with like the actual. I think it's clay too.
Doesn't
My
doesn't
twin
Knoxville
sister
have like
on
360s?
What's that?
Doesn't Knoxville have like 360s?
Yep, they do the
racing?
360 Nationals and then the
Yep.
410s.
And they are racing dirt bikes on it again this year.
Yes.
Ooh.
We didn't- yeah.
Chris Delansky.
Craig Delansky.
Craig
An old,
Delansky.
old World of Outlaw guy started
CDR
putting on
Promotions.
motorcycle races, and they
Does
did
Davenport.
Knoxville and Davenport, Iowa, which are both like 3/8 mile, half
Half
miles. Yeah, 2
Like
half-mile
Big
tracks
half miles.
that we didn't get to go to because obviously like the way our weekends work and
Yeah.
like with
I had
the
a fresh
shop.
baby this last summer.
Yeah,
so.
it's tough to make all of them, but I'm really excited to go. I mean, on those tracks, you could be hitting 75, 80, 85
80,
miles
and
an
you're
hour
holding that for
Right.
in a turn,
yeah.
like,
It's stuff that's like the faster we get going on bikes, the crazier it feels because you're like,
yeah, like you don't do that on the interstate or
yeah, it's like
you know.
the adrenaline you would get when you're like road rage the F out. And then you're like, get the hell out of my way, you 58 mile an hour interstate loser.
Yeah.
And you like punch it, you hit like 82 and you pass everybody. That's 13 seconds maybe that you were like, oh,
Yeah.
that is like
We're talking
laps,
like
10
5
laps,
minutes,
12 laps.
5 minutes.
So
Of
you're
just
just like, you
pure,
forget
like
to breathe for 3 laps. You're like, oh, that's for, oh, yeah, I forgot all the process.
elbow up and
It's crazy because it's so exciting. Like I love my best feeling with racing. I will say the greatest feeling is the light. When that light hits green, and you know the first one off the line, and you can like peripheral look back as you're grabbing the second gear or third gear, and you got a bike on someone, and you're the first one. Knowing that you were the first one to shove your knife in battle.
They call it the whole shot. But like I could have my wife mad at me because we didn't come home soon enough, or
work sucked that week. We didn't sell
work sucked, or late on the bills, or somebody's calling me because I said something at work that and I'm not there.
HR.
When that green light comes on, I don't GAF. Like I'm ready. Like I don't think about anything, and that like he said, like
it's the
you forget to breathe.
I will say, like, probably one of my favorite parts of is like when they're just about to start racing, they start getting all close together, like right behind one of another, right on their asses, and then all of a sudden that green light hits, like, oh, you just hear the whole place just go loud. It's like, oh, let's go.
You could have been best buddies in the pits on the way to the walk up and to get in through staging, and the second that green light hits, like you're still buddies. You know who that guy is, but you aren't.
Not in the race.
He's railroaded me a couple of times out like down turn 4. Just I'm coming in a little too soon, trying to get trying to pass him, and and you're like, what? There's 3 fractured ribs.
But when you guys are racing, what does the wife and kids do? Are they in the RVs doing popsicles and beers?
No, so we're pretty hardcore. When we say Dad's so hard,
I'm gonna need a beer for this.
Damn it, Eric! That was my last question.
Yeah. So like, my wife is like, you always want to do things that you want to do. I'm like, I love racing. Like racing's fun. Like our kids loves it. So sometimes when she comes, it's more local stuff, and she'll cheer us on from the fence line. But our kids are usually in at least 2 races every night, and we're in at least 2 races.
Yeah.
So they're usually on their pedal bikes, half their gear on.
Yep.
Riding around, slamming Gatorades, having candy,
rifling through our wallets to get
money to go to the
concession. Stuff like that. But
that's like $20 in your wallet, and I went and got us chicken strips. Like what? Thanks.
I don't think that my kid has ever actually watched me race. Once he got into racing and like went out to the racetrack, like there's like a gang, like a prison gang of children.
Yes.
That are all, like they all kind of come up in that same circle, and you would see that if you were out at a racetrack, like
it's like
all the generations of like the little kids and brothers and sisters that grew up.
It's all the same people that come like each and every single week.
And they're like, I mean, these kids, like,
it's like a pack of small little prairie dogs on the Sahara desert. Like the older ones going, where they go?
Yeah, like the older ones take
like
care of the younger ones, and then the younger ones listen to the older ones. If somebody gets hurt, like there's always like a buddy system.
Yeah,
it's so weird, and I don't care to try to understand it, because like I remember being a kid, like going to like my older brothers. I have 2 older brothers, like going to their sporting events, stuff like that. You always found a kid that like I wish adults would do this more, like where you just run it like, hey, you want to play catch? Or like, you don't do that anymore. Hey, like,
you want to go to the swings?
Yeah, and like next thing you know, like
you get canceled.
Spending the night at each other's houses. Do
you have to blow all your games like that?
Sleeping in their bed.
Probably the most likely dudes that you could run into, like at the bar on like a Saturday night, earlier hours. Otherwise, it'd be kind of weird. But like Like, hey man, like you want to have a sleepover? Like I'll show you my garage.
Yeah.
I'll show you all my motorcycles.
Yeah, want to come to my place and talk about normal combustion engines? Like,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, we kind of like anything that goes vroom vroom or makes you
Kind of scared, man. Like,
yeah, there's a feeling about kind of being on the edge now that we've raced more.
Yeah.
We want to get into drag racing more.
Yeah, that's
push our
fun.
kids in all kind of forms of it.
Drag racing is less taxing on the body, even though it's more taxing on the machine.
Yeah,
There's
I believe
less
that.
less body involvement.
You could literally race. You could literally race a Saturday night and have a blast until 11 o'clock at night racing. Pack it up, show up Sunday at the drag strip out in Marion.
I was gonna say Marion. Is that where you go?
Yeah,
Yep.
Thunder Valley. I kind of grew up around drag racing. That was kind of big.
Yeah.
Big in my family. My uncle Gary owns Gary's Tire Service.
Oh,
he
okay.
was big in the hobby stock world too back in the day. And
Yeah.
so like I was always out there never knew what the hell was going on, but we were always out in the pits, and I just remember picking up dirt clumps, and just throwing them, like throwing them at other cars and be like, thump.
Yeah.
Like,
It used to
I
be
heard
like
something
my
like that.
favorite thing. Like after the races were done, we'd go walk out into the pits and like you just feel how hard the freaking ground is. Like where they rode over. It's like, oh my God. Like
I remember my dad had speak of that. I literally remember that exact feeling for the first time ever being inside of a racetrack. I couldn't have been 3 years old, maybe max 3 or 4 years old, because my parents got divorced when we were young. My dad had a low rider. He's called the Screaming Chevy, like a 67 to 72 long box, but it could barely get over the embankment to get in. It like scraped all the way in. And I remember like going down the hill, like, Jesus, it looks smooth.
Yeah.
When you're up on the hill, I remember like hands on the, this is a single cab truck, no seat belts.
Right.
I'm 3 or 4 years old on the dash, like looking down, like this is crazy. We're on the racetrack.
And now we go to like a car race and we'll do the same thing. Like
I'm
do
still
the
a
same
kid.
thing still. Like, hey man, like you want to go down to the pits? Like,
Oh yeah.
what was it?
Scott McDonald.
Yeah,
Shout out to
Scotty McDonald from Texas.
the 88.
Came for World of Outlaws when Husitz opened back up as Husitz, and they did like a big 410. It was like
Larson was there.
Yeah,
was out
Kyle
there,
Larson
like
was there.
that 3-4 dayer.
what?
and he, like we were like in the back checking out his race car and like looking underneath, kind of seeing how they
I like to
stagger
see how
it,
stuff's fabricated.
how they set it up, And he's like, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And we're like, "Oh, we're just checking out your rear end." And he kind of looks at us and he's like, "You guys want to come check out my hauler?" I was like, "I like this guy already."
Yeah, he told us to jump in the car. We took pictures in the car.
Yeah, like here we are, like 35-year-old dudes, like feeling like just absolute children.
Yeah.
He's like, "You want to sit in it?" I was like,
Oh
Yeah.
And then, we were with them for a half hour, 45 minutes. We're still to this day. We share stuff on Facebook and
Like,
Instagram.
I haven't seen the guy ever since. And
Yeah,
we still
literally a
message
one-night
each other.
thing,
Like,
yeah.
hey, I sent him a couple T-shirts, and
Still hits us up on Instagram. It's pretty cool.
it's just cool how racers are. They might seem kind of like assholes at the beginning.
It's
They're
an
just
intimidation thing.
The regular
You feel
dude
intimidated by
that
people that are in sports. Like, oh my God, that person, like, holy smokes, look at that swimmer, look at that diver, look at, like you go to a softball meet, you see some jack mother effer going up to the swing the bat, you're like, holy fuck. And you're like, oh,
He's
that guy
gonna hit
was
this a
on
shit
Thursday,
long
too.
way.
He was hungover too. Like,
Yeah, he was hungover Thursday. It's all you can eat Wednesday at B-Dubs.
Right.
He had a couple mojitos,
So do you guys know? So I had two favorite people watching for the longest time. There's a dude from Huron. He raced a late model, Brian Deedy. He's really good racer.
That name.
Is
I
that
know.
Obviously, Jody Rosebaum. He was fun to watch. Still is.
No,
I don't know.
sorry, Brian. That was Brian Berkey.
Yeah, Berkey.
But I've heard of the DDs.
And then
Yeah, who's the other one?
Mark DeBoer
Mark DeBoer. Yeah,
from Ellsworth.
Yeah,
He was a
I've
street
seen-
stock racer.
Yeah, he was out. Well, they don't run. Like they stopped running those classes.
Oh, there's no more street stocks?
Not at Husitz.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but I remember in the earlier days
ran 'em.
that they ran. I remember that name. I've seen it. Like, dude, I used to read the paper if I couldn't go to the racetrack and I was in like high school when we still had like the actual paper,
Yeah.
like I haven't seen a newspaper in so long.
Unless it's at the gas station.
The last one I
Right.
got was when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl the first time. I still have it in my garage framed. But God, like I remember watching, like seeing the guys that like raced and how they finished and all that. And I remember Mark DeBoer he's like a legend around here and on the short track game.
That's awesome.
Heck yeah.
Which reminds me, on the 29th and the 30th of this month, Dan and I and both of our kids are racing at the Concrete Challenge, which is put on by the one and only Chad Mellenburn, the driver of the yellow 97 Dario's 410.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
one of like
Chad's
one of
such
my
a hot rod.
absolute idols. Like the guy comes to the shop all the time, just shows up unannounced, and he'll be here for 3 hours, and I love it.
Yeah. He says bye 6 times.
Yeah, he does
And
the
he just
Irish
got a new-
goodbye like 5-6 times, and you're like, all right, like seriously, we got to get going. But he's putting on this race. There's a lot of those older racers that I grew up with that are like doing their own promotions now, or
Yep.
like making their own parts, stuff like that. But we'll be racing. Get this at the old arena in
Yep,
Sioux
the old
Falls,
arena here in town.
but on concrete, but with Coke syrup like spritzed around the racetrack to get
what?
that grip. Yep.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it gets super sticky.
Yeah.
They run modified lawnmowers.
Yep.
Caged carts,
What?
junior
Yes.
junior carts, adult heavies, and then they do bikes and quads.
Yeah.
So everybody puts that rubber out there, the 29th and the 30th.
Yep.
We will
Uh,
get that information and shoot it on our Facebook. That
Should,
would be
yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
It's I've sung the national anthem 2 years in a row. I'm gonna try to make it 3.
I,
Heck yeah, dude.
Sober or drunk?
Yeah. Usually I don't have too many beverages before a race.
we try to do a lot of those types of things, like singing the national anthem,
Yep.
or like
Putting yourself in a situation that's even scarier than you going racing.
I was saying,
Heck
being,
yeah.
I'm like
Yeah.
500 people and singing the anthem at the arena. I was just like,
yeah, that's really
I was just shaking. Like
nerve wracking
You know,
as hell.
the
But
second
like,
time my kid stood by me, that was pretty cool.
and that's another thing, like to have your kids see you do something like that like means something.
My
Like
dad
our
cried when he
boys,
saw the video.
yeah,
He was
like
like-
that's a big deal.
I never thought you ever do anything like that.
And like when your kid, like they know how hard it is to like speak up in class or
Yep.
like to do like a little presentation. But like when your kid sees that, like, oh shit, like my dad is up there doing it in front of everybody, they kind of know, like, all right, like I got a pretty cool dad, and
Those
I might be able to
situations
do something
don't
like
scare
that
him so
too.
quickly, you know?
Yeah, it's like to just get them into doing something that,
And then now here we both got almost 8-year-olds, and they will run up to anybody and say
Oh, yeah.
hi and be like,
oh, my kid's
"You're
still,
getting me in trouble."
still a little shy. But, like you get it, like you if you have a sweet RV, you're in. Like,
Yeah.
your best friend.
Do you have a box for my plug? I can plug in my.
Our kids are so different.
Yeah.
Like they're 180. Like my kid is very calculated, very cool and quiet, but like not cool. It's it like he gets so upset at like the smallest, weirdest things.
Kind
like
of
I did.
OCD-ish.
Very OCD. His kid is gonna either be the CEO of a major organization or a prison gang.
Yeah,
And it can go either way.
yeah. He
Either
reminds
way.
me like a Vincent Van Gogh that can draw you a perfect picture, but then still have like toothpaste near his face and chocolate hanging from his ear.
And then
Heck
just,
yeah.
just rip it up like
Yeah.
I
no.
told you the whites go with the whites, not with the freaking
Yeah,
greens.
That's my kid. That's my
Yeah.
kid for sure.
Oh man, parents.
I do have one last one for you for my questions or whatever. So what was the biggest change from it being your guys' hobby to it being a family thing now?
I have to admit, not much. And going back to the Dad So Hard thing, we basically
We were already
forced-
bringing our kids to the track.
yeah, we're already bringing them there. We forced them to ride motorcycles. I
we
would
like
say.
bought the bikes and said,
Yeah.
"Here you go." I mean, they obviously wanted to.
they make training wheels for like the Honda 50s. So like that was a huge tool to like,
because they couldn't even touch the ground.
Yeah,
when
like-
on bikes.
we put them on when they were like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And, you know, we didn't make them race until later on, but
Once they were comfortable, yeah. 5,
when I
6.
say we made them race, it was like, no, we're going, we're racing. Do you want to?
Yeah.
And if it was like yes or no, all right,
Yeah.
we're going. And then, you know, now it's like I can literally drop my kid off or have my wife drop him off at the racetrack. Dan's already got the bike set up. He's ready with the gear and will help my kid. I've done the same. We've done it with other guys' kids and stuff like that to where
anybody's going to help you out. Like
if they want to do it, like we're all in. But I like when I say like we make them do it, I'm like eventually he's not gonna like want to or he really wants to.
Yeah.
And that'll be fine.
Yeah, we've always tried to keep it fun. Like there's times where they'll go out and they'll do practice, but they're having fun with some of their friends that aren't racing.
Right.
And they're jumping their bikes in the back and playing on their pedal. But sometimes they're like, "Oh, Dad, I'm just having fun." It's like, dude, if you don't want to race, it's
or they're
fine.
scared or they crashed or something. They're like,
Yep.
I don't feel good about it, whatever. Like we don't make them do it. But like the whole family aspect is like it's not just that one night. Like
the best part's the camping.
Yeah, like you're
It's the
camping
2
out
days.
with all the other families.
Going
and
to
you're
a local
talking
track and
stories
knowing that you get to drive there and come home. That's a nice feeling.
Yeah, like you get to sleep in your own bed. That's great.
I have fell asleep on a punctured air mattress plenty nights and woke up and still raced again the next day. Smiled through all of it.
Yeah, it's like
Because some of the things our kids have done on the racetrack, at the racetrack, have been hands down some of the best moments of our life.
Absolutely.
I mean, on top of all the other great things they do, but his kid has been playing with dog poop before. My kid took a poop in
yeah.
You know, like
they lost a cell phone and they like worked together as a team.
Yeah, and
went and found it. Like
yeah,
retrace steps, and you're just like you don't even have to do anything. And
they've learned more watching us make breakfast on the Blackstone the next morning, or cook hot dogs after we got there late, or
working on the bikes.
Yeah,
you know,
making
just,
sure the beds are. Like, we both have like we got a camper. This is last year. He's got a pop up, so like me and Arlo would sleep in the trailer. You know, you got like fans going. Sometimes you leave the door down. You know, it's like you got to sleep outside.
It's an experience that like
we let them stay up late. We don't tell the wives, but
they know.
Guys,
all night.
Yeah,
More than root beer.
They know.
Yeah, like dude. I mean, usually we'd always do something cute like neon, like the light up bracelets, you know, or stuff like that. So it's like, oh, I can see them out there in the dark. They're still pedaling around, or you let them strap them to their pedal bike so that their pedal bikes are all glowed up for the night. You know?
Then there's other parents that give them sharp objects or any make our lives
a
little more interesting.
Yeah,
it's like, oh hey, it's midnight. You want a Mountain Dew and a like
here's a push button start chainsaw.
Right.
Yeah.
Like maybe let's not have the blade on there.
Oh, yeah.
I just feel like, especially our boys that are 7, almost 8, I think that they're gonna end up being just 2 little shit kickers when they get a little bit older, and they're just gonna have just a different maybe like set of values or like than what you kind of see in like other kids.
Yeah, like I mean, my wife is in the military. My wife's a nurse and in the military, so she's very disciplined. Like she's got like,
she's by the book, like straighter than a grizzly's dick.
She's like the one Wayne brother.
God damn it! Now we're gonna get canceled for sure.
But like,
so this my kid gets wild and crazy, unplanned with me, to where it's like I don't know when we're gonna be able to wash our butts. It might take us one full day.
Yeah,
we might not see an actual hot water bath. For one day, like. We're going to rough it with baby wipes, and we'll eat some food here and there. We'll go racing and have fun. But then with my wife, it's planned and organized.
Yeah.
And you like that, and you get to enjoy that side of it.
There's so many audibles, and there's so many, like, situations that come up where
I call them in.
Like, your kid, like, just, like, shits his pants out in the woods while he's playing and, like, already threw his underwear away, and you're like...
He got some in his undies.
Like, man, I got to race, like, in 2 races. Like,
Just Big Daddy, put some newspaper down.
Right. And it's like, all right, hey, like, come with me. I'll take care of it. You know,
Yeah.
like you owe me one on the next one, you know,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. But
Then he's all cleaned up, playing in the trailer. I'm like, God, I still smell, you got that smell in the air. It's like, it's not on me. It's on my, he's like, no, Dad, I had to step in it. I had to put my pants back on. It's like,
I stepped in it. It's on my
give me your shoes. It's like, then you got to wash a pair of shoes.
Oh,
it's like, shit, is that me?
Yeah, right? And usually, God, I think it is. There's been a couple mornings where like not both eyes are open when you get up. You're like,
You ain't cool unless you poop your pants.
We could have a whole other episode of all the crazy nights
that we've had at the racetrack.
Him and I, like,
we are the ones that when you start to think it's getting hard, it's just right for us.
Yeah, that's when it's just getting
We're
going.
10, 11 o'clock, everybody's like, oh, I'm going to go call it shut-eye.
It's like
3:30 in the morning, I'm like sprinting on the track, racing like 4 other drunk dudes.
I'm like, I already got somebody going to get more beer. And somebody just told me he wanted to beat me in a foot race. So
and we have Indian leg wrestling at 1:30.
Oh,
Indian leg
There's a
wrestling
schedule.
all across the country.
Yeah, so usually like after we get done racing, it's like that was probably the best part about Sturgis was like we raced so late in the day.
Yeah.
Because it was middle of summer, August, South Dakota harvest heat.
Rains like 3 times a day.
Yeah, it's like you get a spritz of rain. It's 97 degrees, 100% humidity.
Yeah.
We don't race until 7 o'clock at night. So it's like you race from 7, you get done at midnight. We got a couple hours to go out in Sturgis.
Yeah.
Jump on the moped, shoot downtown. Meet a
God.
wolf man. Drink some beer, get back, and then it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You're still having beers because you're like you're just so jacked from
just
riding.
amped up. I will say though, if anybody that's listening ever happens to want to go to Sturgis, like the Harleys and the Indians, all that stuff's really cool. It's great. But if you really want the secret, you get a moped.
Oh.
If you get a moped, you can literally park anywhere.
Anywhere.
And you don't need a driver's license or a license plate.
We bombed
and I'm telling
hundreds
you,
of miles in an 8-day span on 2 mopeds.
we almost got thrown in jail the first year we went there because, we were stunt riding, some engine.
Oh yeah! Shout out to the
powered
unicorn
bicycles.
Just go, man.
I was doing like 50 down the old backstretch.
And these guys, like they were volunteering from Minnesota, and they were asking for license plates and all, or
registration,
for driver's license, motorcycle license. We're like,
none of us have one.
this is South Dakota, baby. It's
You don't need them.
See, he's like, you don't need nothing. Like
I was on a 125.
either we're good or we're gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, we escaped. Just had to bullshit a little bit, which is kind of my
You give
my
me
thing.
those like, oh shit, man, we raced all day. Just had to get off from the track for a little bit, so we jumped on the moped, shot their. I was doing like a Superman, like at 50 mile an hour down the road, like acting like an idiot on a moped.
These
He
guys
doesn't know I'm drunk as
and I
fuck.
have to come in all prim and proper. Like, hey, listen,
Hey.
we just we need to pump it up a little bit. What do I need to do here?
He's the only one that I know that uses like that finesse for men.
It's it's what is it?
Pantene Pro V.
I like the Aussie,
Pantene.
the Aussie shampoo has got that smell. I don't know what it is,
Ooh,
but
That herbal essence glow.
something like that.
Oh man, Pirate Banks. Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, sorry we overtook your guys' show.
No, that's awesome. It's totally awesome. We usually get people on here that we get a little bit more say, but when we put you two in front of a camera, I guess it's all on you.
You knew it.
Yeah.
He knew it.
Any other questions?
Yeah. What other things?
I like blue.
Well, now that you've said all of my questions, Eric, you just want to.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
I mean, like,
I mean, we can
This
think
is-
of our own.
yeah,
Here, I gotta get another beer here.
yeah, just one.
Just
Just
one.
Just
one.
Just one. We can only have one a night.
Yeah. One
I just
12
saw
pack.
the other day, they were like, oh, when they say just one beer means just one beer.
Yeah.
And when they say they're having a few, it showed like 8 beers.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, I'm just going to go out for a night, and it shows them like dead in a.
It's like Dumb and Dumber. Like,
Yeah.
Harry, can you pull over? I gotta go. I gotta go.
Just
That's
go.
right.
What are you, a camel?
I can't
Yeah.
stop once I start. It stings.
Yeah.
If I
All
could-
right,
if I
all
could
right.
count- if I could count how many times like we've been in the middle of a trip to get to a racetrack,
You
of,
always
like,
gotta
having
pee.
to stop in some of the most just either
I have pictures of at least a half a dozen of these spots. It's like if we stop to go pee, it's never like, oh, hey, it's Flying J. It's the pilot.
no, you're in the
Let's
middle of
go, man.
nowhere.
No, this is Desert Road 46A. You know, it's like there's a moose that just walked by.
It's-
Oh no, that's a metal cutout.
Oh god.
There was a time.
Yeah, it's
we could literally go on for days of the stories for some of the trips, the nights. Because honestly, that's what kept me in
I broke-
racing too after the injuries is the fun that you get to meet these people and
I broke my pinky one
Yeah.
night. And yes, that is how it is when I straighten it out.
I got
we
a
were-
thumbs up for
yeah.
that
I got my thumb.
That's a good one.
She likes that.
fucking thing.
One night, it's like we got taken, like somebody just says, hey, jump in the truck. And we're like, all right. Like
Oh, yeah.
this was a night that we didn't actually travel with the boys and we didn't take them with us.
Yeah, it was a weekend, just memories.
Yeah. And it's probably, it's a good thing that we bring the kids because
It tones us down a little
Yeah.
bit. You still have to be responsible.
Yeah.
Brushing teeth, like they're not bleeding somewhere or crying. Left alone.
we had like a literal, as far as atmospheric reports, there was a tornado that went through the area of our racetrack where all of our stuff was, like our pit and our bikes and my truck, camper, trailer, all the stuff.
Yeah,
And we were sitting at the bar.
yeah.
And
Just hooting at the
it's like,
moon.
well, there's no sense in really going back right now. So let's go over to the Pickled Pig.
Yeah.
And they just happened
Shout
to
out to Faribault, Minnesota.
be Faribault, Minnesota.
All fair
They
ball.
just happened to be playing Once Bitten, Twice Shy by Great White on
That
the
is-
jukebox.
That's Aaron's song. We are karaoke beat badasses.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
Got unofficial karaoke champions of the world. But I looked for anything that I just wanted to smack something. I wanted, like, if I could have high-fived myself, I probably should have done that. But I turned
With the
around
chair?
and I literally just punched the door
I thought it was a jukebox.
or something. Yeah, it was
We
something.
were shooting pool. And
Nobody
he was
really
playing-
remembers.
We were that night. I was ordering doubles and triples for everybody.
Oh geez.
Walked
Oh,
in
man.
with like a soup bowl full of Fireball, and I don't remember much after that. But punched the door, and I thought everything was okay. But when I broke my collarbone the next morning
At the
at,
racing.
at the actual races,
Yeah.
from getting high-sided up, like went over. High side means you went over the tank
Yeah.
versus laying it down. I high-sided and broke my collarbone, had to get dragged over to the emergency room by some guy's mom that
She's an absolute sweetheart.
angel. She's an angel of a woman.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know my finger was broke until
We were like driving home.
they were looking at it.
Yeah.
Well, they were looking at it at the hospital, get me all drugged up for my collarbone because that thing looks like this now.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, hey, like, do you want us to look at your finger? I was like, what are you talking about, my finger? I was like, oh, shit. It sure, it
It's
doesn't
sure
look
left-
right.
It's a little left up there, Roger.
So, yeah, you're going to have those nights on them bigger jobs. And
Yeah. Faribault 22 is for the books, man. They honestly, that
That's
night,
my
that night
first-
in that town.
That was my first win, too. My first checkered flag ever in vintage class for District 23.
Fairbolt's fun. I played Corky's
Oh, that's
softball tournament
No,
there.
not
That's a
this
really
last
fun
one.
tournament.
The first,
That was Jordan. Jordan is where I broke my collarbone and my pinky, but Faribault was when I actually won my first race.
yes.
I won my
Jordan
first
is
race.
where-
That track looked like somebody had dumped a bunch of like
The Billy
chocolate
Hofmeister
battered cake
race.
mix on the track. So I mean, if you were behind anybody,
It was a
you are
Dust.
literally just breathing in silty, sooty black dirt.
It was like the scene from Days of Thunder when
It was
Cole Trickle
so
got his foot
bad.
up,
Ooh, I love
phone in the
that.
background, all those old hot rods are racing. It's just dusty. The sun is setting, but you can't see anything. That's what it's like doing 50 mile an hour behind someone.
And you're like racing, you're racing like shadows, like of people in front of you that are in the dirt, but the sun's shining through it, so you can see where they're at. But you know, like you don't really know what's going on.
I was going by
but the track was so rough. I felt like I was just like jerking off 2 elephants, and I'm just like,
canceled again. God damn it.
And for some reason, I ended up winning the race, dude.
Yeah, I got third. I got third behind him and Dietz.
Oh, so good.
That's
but that night in Jordan where he broke his collarbone, that town still talks about that night when we went there.
We like
2 bars are like.
Yeah.
Remember that night those 2 guys came in with you guys? Because there's local people that we race with. And they were like, we go in there. They're like, remember that night you guys came with those 2 other white boys?
Those guys are like those out of towners, those South Dakota, those
guys,
Some Decatans. And they just had never seen, you know, like 2 guys that were just ready to take the bar by the horns, you know, like we knew we were in for a treat, but like,
it was like
we should have been in the paper.
Like, it would be like the feeling if you knew you were Whitney Houston and you just wrote "I Will Always Love You," but no one else heard it yet.
Yeah,
and you're like, I already got the balls.
Like
I'm walking in this other effort, and I own this now. You're like, you don't even have anything. Like, honey, wait till you see this. You know, like, hey,
you know, it's a good time.
Oh, dang, she's good.
I don't think anybody would have a bad time with us.
Yeah, I usually don't. My wife would probably have something different to say.
Well, you know.
No,
wow.
No, she'll always break my balls, but she knows when we go out to places, that's her one thing. She's like, oh, you know him? Oh, you know them too? Oh, you know them? It's like, hey, like, no, I just met them.
I will say,
taking me on vacations.
I will say, you know, like our wives, you know, like going back to, I think the last question you asked about what do our families do while we're racing? Like our wives don't like to go because they know that everybody's going to approach us and they're going to have to like be that little, like that sideshow, you know, like, oh, here I am, you know, like they're expecting us to like, oh my God, this is my beautiful wife. It's like, no shit.
Everybody looks at you.
Everybody that we race with that like ends up seeing our wives are like, oh my God, you guys are actually married. You have women that love want to possibly lay next to you naked. Like, like holy smokes.
Yeah.
But when they do show up, like our wives came out, we raced this Red Bull event out at Lake Okoboji.
That was so much fun.
And yeah, we all stayed like it was like the same hotel room, which I mean, I at the time, like I was like, oh man, like I'm not gonna be able to have snacks or nothing. But like, you know, we made it work. But I don't know how many people actually walked up to our wives while we were out racing at Okoboji, and they were just like, I don't know how you guys do it. Like 100 people came up to us while you guys were like out and about, like walking around and doing the thing. How, you know, like, and they're just such troopers, you know, like when they're in, they support us and all that. But for the most part, they're like, here, take the kid and just get the hell out of here.
That is a cool thing too. Cause like, you know, like the whole, we created That's So Hard Racing, but you go to the racetrack and you realize that there's
way
30
better
families like that.
Yeah. Way better dads
so
out
we're trying
there
to
than
create
us.
the stigma of like, oh, hey, just try to be a good dad to anybody, support someone, help them out, you know? And it's like you go to a racetrack and everybody's already doing that. And you're like, right on.
Yeah.
So like it's really cool because like that's one thing we really enjoy about it. Like I want to go to new tracks and try new places just because it's the best part about it. You know, you're always gonna try something new, you know, but like I still like, oh, I can't wait to go race there with them guys again. Oh, I can't wait to go here and race with these guys again. You know?
You just meet a lot of people kind of like us that just make an impact and you just kind of want to be around them.
I'm gonna be doing this like even if I can't physically throw my leg over a bike and race, I will still be doing some form of racing, be involved with racing.
Something.
Probably Mario Kart.
Or helping someone with
on the Switch. Yes.
Yeah. Like, I want to
And I'll be racing wiener dogs at the Stampede games if I have to.
Well, I've been filing this dog's nails for 3 days.
Yeah. I shaved it down to like just a
I bathed them and clipped them myself.
Treating you, so you got an extra sugar buzz.
You have nothing to worry about, Mrs. Nudie Burn.
What's that?
Nudie Burger.
Yeah.
You have nothing to worry about, Mrs. Nudie Burger. I bathed them and clipped them myself.
Right.
Yeah, right.
It's such a. Ever seen Best in Show?
No.
I have not.
Oh my God. Oh God. You ever seen Spinal Tap? So the people that made Spinal Tap, these are actually 2 movies that you don't even have to ask the whole world of Facebook, like, hey, what should I watch? Like, 2 movies that you have to watch in the next 2 weeks are Spinal Tap and Best in Show. Best in Show is about like dog people that do their like the dog shows.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable.
Yep.
And it's like this almost the same exact cast that does Spinal Tap, which is like more of like an 80s
rock band,
80s video or like early 90s video. Both of them
so good.
out of the park.
I bet you like you'll watch those movies and you'll hear certain sayings and be like, oh, I've heard that before. It's from those movies. Like people saying shit in the daily world, like turn it up to 11. But
So
10's pretty loud.
for all
I want it to go to 11.
So for all the listeners out there, all of the fans, the new fans that are going to be coming to this once we wrap this up, you have to watch
Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder.
Absolutely.
Young Guns.
All the Young Guns.
Yeah.
You have to watch on any Sunday, not any given Sunday, but
not the one with Jamie
on
Foxx.
any Sunday. It's a movie that was made in the 60s, I believe.
No, 70s.
70s about flat track and TT.
It's about all forms of motorcycle racing.
Very, very good.
It's a really good show. On any Sunday.
But then you also maybe all the Lethal Weapons, throw those in there.
Yeah, all 4 Lethal Weapons.
And then
the movie Rad.
yes. The movie Rad, 100%. But then there's another one. What am I forgetting?
Oh, Balto. Because you cannot forget about a good story about a dog that saves a whole town.
I mean, he saved the whole town. Brought the medicine. He brought all the medicine.
He had a friend, Goose. Goose was a goose. Like, part wolf. Balto was...
but then I thought I was thinking of another one here.
Spinal Tap,
and Spinal Tap was the last one. Spinal Tap, Best in Show, Days of Thunder, all the Lethal Weapons, and Balto.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Check those out.
And Rad.
Well, sorry guys, I know we
we could go on for days, but it's
What are you guys doing next week? We do a part 2.
Eric, what's it time for, Eric? What do you
time for me to go to bed? These guys talk forever.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not kidding. It is dad joke
Dad
time,
jokes
boys.
of the week.
Oh, dad joke time.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Here's my phone. I had some prepared.
I already know a couple.
Way to come prepared.
Yeah,
I have a couple.
Hey, he's actually kind of like you, Davey. He's always got to get that phone for that dad joke.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Did I just say one?
The same one, yeah.
So the one that I like the most right now is what does a DJ put on his noodles?
What?
Marinara.
Oh, my God.
Hey, why did the golfer bring an extra pair of socks to his golf match?
Why?
In case he got a hole in one.
Oh,
I mean, come on.
Oh man,
Eric, you go next.
Well, since we were talking about racing and everything, I thought I'd throw this one out there. I used to have a racing horse named Mayo, sometimes mayonnaise. You guys get it, mayonnaise?
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Hardly working.
All right, mine. You guys ready for mine?
Let's go, Davey.
All right. I went to a drag race last Saturday. I still can't believe the guy in high heels won.
Another guy. I love that you went racing with it too. Oh man, it's like, oh man, I bet I could race in heels. My kid, I know this is his favorite. It's Knock Knock.
Who's
there?
Daisy.
Daisy.
Daisy who?
They see me rolling. He just loves that song. And like when I told that to him, he was just like, oh, Dad. That one and my DJ one. Those ones are pretty big hits at the daycare. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
Awesome. Well, shoot,
boys,
guys.
Jared had to change the pad quick. It was drying out. It's tough for those Irish kids. They leak from every hole. I think he lost his phone, but he probably plugged it in somewhere and then unplugged it and moved it.
Well, shoot. Yeah, like I said, sorry we have to wrap this up. I have to
No worries, man. I've had a hoot
yet.
Thanks, David.
Dude, this
Thanks,
is a good
Eric.
time. This is a good one.
This was a good one, guys. We appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. And then if anytime you guys just need like I can always be a jump-in guest. Like, say if I get the email like that, like, hey, let's get this guy's, like I'd be like at home, like, what's up? Oh, hey guys, like with my kid, like that'd be cool too.
Heck yeah.
Like,
We might have to do that. That'd be kind of cool.
you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
you know how you sent that email out, just like, oh, hey, click in, boom, like, oh, hey, look, now Dan's got a fucking answer for this,
Yeah.
I would be against something like that. We could be a quick guest where we don't say much.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, we got like a school bus or something, like busting with the boys, and then we're going out to Vegas for the Super Bowl or something. I mean, let's not sell ourselves short here.
We are, Midwest Dad Squad.
And you guys,
That's
I think
so hard.
if I were to get all three of you guys into that Las Vegas territory.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. Maybe we'd have to see
Their
who's
corn dogs
ready.
are so good.
Oh yeah, just absolute
Hogs.
I'd be down for that. But no, I really appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
A great time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And it was a blast, and I can't wait for other people to watch this and get a kick
Yeah,
out
we're
of
gonna
it.
shout you out and blast you up, guys.
Sorry we took it all over and just
It's all good. All good.
All right, I better get my wife some food before I get a text message. Where are you?
She texted me twice already.
And Eric, you better get to the gym. You better make sure you lift with your legs, and
It is. That's funny because it's leg day today, boys. So.
Yeah. Hey, he's got them guns out there.
With that bubbler in me, I'm all jacked.
See, I don't even have to go to the gym. I just look like this every day.
I have to wear clothes so people don't get intimidated by my body.
All right, guys.
Hey,
Thanks
we
again.
appreciate it, David and Eric.
We will
Thanks, guys. Have a
definitely
good night.
guys.
we'll have to have you guys back on again. See ya.
Have a good one.